Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to this session of Gosti on Shreni. Shreni is a tech quarterly published by ShwetSai, and I'm the designer and editor of the magazine. We launched Shreni as a subscription product in June 22, and we had a single release issue after that in December. Now, for the next 2 years, 23 and 24, we have a 6 issue promotional offering. And depending on the feedback that we receive from our subscribers, we will devise a strategy to move forward with the magazine. When we launched it as a product, we gave 3 alternatives. There was an option to purchase a single issue, or you could give it a try for 1 year. So you could have 2 issues in 2023. And of course, there was a 6 issue offering, so you could directly subscribe for 2 years. We recently closed the 1 year trial period, but the single issue is still available to purchase. Our transition period going from beta testing to product launch was really short, just 2 months, and it really didn't give us enough time to invite many of you personally. We're truly sorry about it. But the good thing is that despite our inefficient planning, so many of you have come forward to support our venture and subscribe to our magazine. Thank you so much, and I really hope that this magazine doesn't let you down. In this session, I want to go over a few things. When the first release of Shreni came out, I started to talk to people about Shreni and the sections that it has. And there were a couple of questions that were very frequently asked. So I want to try and address those questions in this s- session. I also want to go over the sections of Shreni a little more in detail, talk about my design idea and how I came up with these sections. And towards the end of the session, I want to give information about our limited digital edition. So, originally, Shreni was to be only in the print form, but now we are offering a limited digital edition for 2024. So, I would go over it towards the end of this session. When I handed over Shreni to the possible subscribers, the couple of questions that arose were first being very obvious one, that what is the magazine about, and the second one being whom have you designed this for. So I want to share my views on these two. I would I would take the second question first, which is whom have I designed this magazine for? What were my design thoughts behind Shreni? Now, if you are a reader, how do you pick up a book, say from a library or a bookstore, or even when you are traveling from airport or railway station stand? You would either look for a known author, a bestseller, or recommendation from a friend. But sometimes you are looking for a fresh read, or you just browse through the shelves and you come across a really thin booklet and you flip through it. It has articles, you like the design, you pick it up from the shelf, it's very reasonably priced. And say if you like the magazine enough, then you see that there is a subscription option available. You subscribe it for 1 year. If you like it, you become a regular subscriber. That was the whole idea behind design of Shreni, and our launch also sort of proceeded in that manner. So we had a launch, then we had a single release issue. We offered 1 year trial period. But then the question is, what is the magazine about? That was our first question that I talked about. So, I mean, most of us these days are so habituated to searching information on the web. Like at least 10 times a day, you must be searching for something on Google, browsing the net. So it has become so necessary that our knowledge base is not restricted but is widened. And that is what Shreni encompasses too. It is not about a particular topic. So it's not about fashion, it's not about just yoga, it's not just about health, but it covers a lot many things in it's a tech magazine, it's a technology magazine, but it's not designed to cater only to technological folks. It is written in a language that will appeal to even commoners. And it's a simple 10-page booklet. It's not an entire thesis that you're supposed to read. And 10 pages has lot many informative articles. So a very simple answer would be that it's designed for you. The reason I took up these questions for the session was because if you are at the edge, like, unable to decide if you should subscribe to this magazine or not, then hopefully this will help you clear some of your doubts. And if you have already subscribed, then I want to make you feel comfortable about your investment. The next thing we talk about is sections of Shreni. Now, Shreni means series, it's continuous. So the issues will keep coming. And if you are our regular subscriber, then you will start seeing a pattern in the articles too. So that's the name Shreni. And sections of Shreni are bite, got a minute, the aperture, whiskers and D2, and rung. So I've divided Shreni into 5 separate sections. And I want to go over my design thoughts behind each of these sections. So it will help you understand when you read the articles as to what are you looking for, or what actually the designer is trying to convey through these sections. So I would start with the aperture section first. And the name itself is very intuitive. It definitely means that the section is related to photography. Now, why did I come up with this section? Why did I include such a section in Shreni? So I typically like writing, be it a social media post or blogs. And every time I write an article, I not necessarily have a picture to go with it. So I start searching the web for free photos. And not always will I find an appropriate photograph that would, tell the story, or that would help me tell the story better. So I started thinking that if you are not a professional photographer or even a hobbyist, then when do you actually click pictures? Maybe at a wedding or a social gathering, or perhaps when you are out on a vacation. But how often does that happen? And the other thing was that when you look at a picture, when you're seeing a photograph, do you ever go beyond, hey, it's a nice click? So all these thoughts combined together, I came up with this section which is the aperture. And the way the section is designed is that there will be a photograph, and it's not any special photograph. These are photographs of common objects, so not at a special occasion or an event. And there will be an article. So the aim of the article will be to convey technological information, technological details in the simplest form possible. So you can use these information for when you click the pictures next time, or when you take a printout of these pictures, you will have information that is relevant to a photograph. And if you if you have your thoughts to share with us, so essentially this section is where we are sharing our own learning with you. So if you would want to share your thoughts on the photograph or the articles that we publish in this section, then please write to us, please let us know, and we will share your thoughts, your notes publicly as well. The next section I want to talk about is Whiskers and D2. So, this is just a comic, and I regularly write a comic strip for ShwetSai, so I decided to include it in Shreni as well. The Whiskers is a smart cat, and D2 is a book robot. So, when I say book robot, it's a robot in form of a book. And there is no storyline to Whiskers and D2. It's just some fun, interesting conversations between Whiskers and D2 that I write. So, in each issue of Shreni, you'll find a comic strip on Whiskers and D2. Rang is our next section, and Rang is, of course, not an English name. It is, I think, inherited from Sanskrit and probably has roots in Persian or Indo European language. But Rang means color, and that's exactly what this section is. It exhibits colors of ShwetSai. So, aside from us being product consultants, we have colors, we have other colors too. So this section of ours is meant to exhibit those colors, and it's going to be a very dynamic section, so it will keep changing. So this is something we want our subscribers to look forward to. So there will be something new, something fresh every issue, and that will be in our rung section. Of course, we will, if we celebrate something, if we volunteer something, that also will be included in this section. And there will be one article to go in this section, and that article will by no means be technology article. So it will be a very generic article, and the subject will also keep varying. It can be from fashion, it can be from finance, it can be from social service activity. So the articles in the sections are going to be changing as well. So that's our rung section. Now, after rung, the next two sections that I want to talk about, they are getting more into the technological domain. So if you see the three sections that I talked until now, first we saw the aperture section, which was technology, but it's a technology that is very commonly used. And the next two sections, Whiskers and D2 and Rung, we were diverting from our technological field into a more generic. So it is going to appeal to a lot of people, those two sections. And then we come back again to the technological field. So the next two sections are absolutely technology oriented, but they are written in a form so that it will appeal to many, and probably they will find use of it in their own work or personal lives. So, as product consultants, got a minute is our atypical section, you can say. Now, when you talk of a product, when I say product, what all goes into building a product? Or you can say the product will have a design, there will be launch, of course, of a product, there will be content to it, right? You'll write articles, you'll write marketing collaterals, you'll, of course, it cannot be a product without an underlying strategy. When you have product, you will market it, there will be packaging, there will be management, there will be manufacturing, and of course nowadays everybody talks about design thinking. So all this put together makes a product. Without any of these, if any of this is missing, your product will be less spicier. And our section got a minute is going to be based on all of this. So you will find an article relevant to a product building in this section, and it will be written in a format so that you could even use it either while building a product or in your day to day life. And product just not necessarily mean a technology product, right? Anything is a product. Even our magazine is a product. So that's our got a minute section, spicier product section. And our last section is my favorite section, which is bite. I had most fun designing this section, and in fact, it took me a while to, design the section. I don't know if you're able to make a story out of this picture, but in this section, you will have just 2 bytes worth of information. And when I say 2 bytes worth of information, it will have the history and it will have a path forward. Now, the history and path forward are about a commonly used technology or process. So, either the technology or process are still in use, just have been modified with time, or they have become extinct, but people are talking about it that probably, we need to go back to our old culture. So, that's the essence of the section byte, and it's going to be really 2 bytes worth of information. But the end of this section, there will be a probe point. So we haven't completely yet researched into this, it's an ongoing research. So the probe point will have that information, so it will have a probing question which you can think about. You can, if the magazine is being read by a group of people, then you can discuss it in the group, or if it's used by a team, then the team members can think about it, or even come up with a idea that can be useful to them. So that's our bite section. So these are our 5 sections of Shreni. Now, I can get into marketing, that how I envision the magazine to be utilized by people, or how I see people using this magazine, or for whom this might come of use to. But instead, for this promotional year, I want to hear from you. The more I hear from you, the better I get at designing the magazine. So how could you use it, or how did you like it, or what could have been made better, that you would have enjoyed reading more? So I would love to hear from you instead of me targeting a specific crowd with my marketing idea. And lastly, to end this ghosty session, I want to talk about the limited digital edition. So, when I started handing out Shreni, the first question, along with the others, of what it is about and whom it is for, it's like, why aren't you giving a digital copy? The digital copy will take away from our design philosophy, and that's why we are not offering digital copy of Shreni. Besides, we think that there are going to be 5 or 6 articles, and it's okay to read maybe a page or two on your small screen of a phone, but then to read 5 articles in a phone just doesn't make sense, and it will not give you the feel, or it will not be able to convey the correct message that our design wants to. So that's why we didn't want to offer digital edition. But looking at the general opinion of the people, and after a bit of strategizing, we thought that it might be okay to give out a limited digital edition which has only 2 sections. So we are offering only 2 sections in our digital edition, which is Rang and Got a Minute. So for 2023, we are not offering digital edition, but for 2024, we have a digital edition. ShwetSai is based in Gujarat state. So for Gujarat, for this promotional offering, we only have print copies. But for the ones residing outside of Gujarat state, if you are interested, then you can subscribe to our limited digital edition. It's also very reasonably priced. You get 4 issues at just rupees 220. Um, so now we have, since we closed our 1 year trial offering, the subscriptions available are, there is a 4 issue subscription for 2024 in print, which is at 450, and it's available to residents of Gujarat state as well as outside. And there is a limited digital edition which is for outside of Gujarat state residents, and it is at 220 rupees. And of course, the single issue purchase is still available. So, if you have, I hope that the Gosti session, the reason for doing this Gosti session was, answering some of your doubts if you had, and making our subscribers feel more comfortable, give them a bit of idea as to what they're going to look for in the upcoming issues. But if you still have more questions, you can always write to me at shwetsai.com, and else you can just ping me on WhatsApp, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, either about the articles, the sections, or subscription options. I really hope that this experiment, this venture of our becomes successful. You like our magazine, and we continue beyond 2024. So, thank you so much for hearing me out, and look forward to interacting with you more in future. Thanks a lot.